What's happening, my people? This is the Sports Counterpoints podcast. I'm GB. I got Coop and Brian with me as always. What's going on, guys?
What's happening?
Brutal.
We're back. Brutal.
It's so brutal that you're repping the U today.
We play Thursday.
What's brutal about the holiday season, man? Happy holidays to anyone who celebrated. I'm still trying to stay festive with it. Good luck moms on the hat some years back. So we're repping. I don't know what Coop's talking about brutal. I thought it was one of the most fantastic holiday seasons we've seen in a while.
Yeah.
Family was
it was definitely brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why later.
Yeah. So we'll get into that in a bit. Sports Counterpoints, where we talk sports, but just the sports we like. So that makes that fun. It's not a full sports show. It's just what we're interested in at the time. So if you're rocking with us and you share our interests, we're rocking with you too. And even if you don't, we are. It's all good. But yeah. So we're talking NFL, of course. We're getting closer and closer to the playoffs, couple games away. We got some bowl games for college they want to talk about. We'll do our last couple segments and we'll get up out of here, man. So hope everybody's enjoys the show. We appreciate you all and happy holidays, like I said. Let's get to it, man. Let's start with the league. We can get to our teams at the end. Let's kind of go down the list, get your thoughts, man. Starting New Orleans and Los Angeles ended up being an important game for the playoff seeding on the NFC.
Huge.
Still the bottom of the seeds, which may, we'll see if it's going to matter. Usually those 7 and 6s don't make no noise anyway, but big for the Rams, big win. And also how this can affect the 49ers going forward and some of these other teams too. So Joe, watch the game. You have any thoughts on that one?
I did watch that game actually a little bit. And look, the Rams have been playing really well. Here's what I'll tell you. There's nobody who wants to play the Rams in the first round. Like if you don't want to play a Kyron Williams, who is, I don't know what the heck has gotten into that guy, but he's been healthy all season. He has been playing out of his mind. You don't know which way you're going to get it. It's either going to be Puka. It's like it's Stafford. Stafford is now responsible for the number 1 top passing yards in history in Detroit, number 2 in LA, and then also number 1 for rookies. It's going to be with Puka by the time the season's over. So that's not to say the guy can chuck it. The guy can chuck it, right? I mean, the Rams knew what they were doing. For all those Jared Goff folks out there, he's pretty good at throwing that ball downfield. But anyways, this was a huge game. The Rams came to play. They made it happen, and no one, I don't think anyone believes that they have a chance of making a Super Bowl or anything crazy like that.
Sure.
But in 2 seasons, they have taken a team that had no cap space. They had mortgaged the entire future to win that Super Bowl and successfully did it, into a team that is young. It has, it's a hard team to beat. And I don't think there's a whole lot of teams that want to play them in the first round of the playoffs. They may beat them, but it's not going to be an easy game.
Yeah. Brian, we both had the Rams in this one. I think -4 against New Orleans, and I had them for one simple reason. I got McVay versus Dennis Allen. I'm taking McVay on that all day. They were up 27-7 going into the fourth quarter, so the score was only 30-22, but that's just cosmetic. Derek Carr's been doing that his whole career, putting up yards when the games are out of hand. But look,
shots.
The Rams, I'm with you. I don't think people want to see the Rams right now. They'll definitely be a tough out in the playoffs. I said last week, I think Sean McVay deserves Coach of the Year consideration. Not saying he'll get it, but to have just 2 veterans and 45 rookies on the team or young guys on the team and still have this team in contention. I don't think anybody had this team in contention. I heard before the season, a lot of people had them as one of the worst teams in the NFL battling for the number 1 pick. So the fact that they are at this point in the season still in playoff contention says a lot about coaching, which is why it matters so much in the NFL. But other than that, I don't really have a take in the game. I mean, I really don't have too much to say in this game because it's New Orleans, and I think we kind of know what New Orleans is at this time of the year. So just got to give credit to the Rams for winning the game, and then, we'll see what happens next week.
The only other thing I would say is that the GM and the front office of the Rams is just outstanding. I mean, they are playing chess with everyone else is playing checkers. They did it before when everyone was trying to figure out how they were fitting all these superstars under the cap. They had a mortgage and made these trades to get them. They did it again when they cleared all those players out to get picks and young guys back and revamp the team. They're definitely outstanding at rebuilding a team.
Yep. What about another one that ends up being important? The Bills and the Chargers. It was closer than it probably should have been.
Well, do you want to skip Cincinnati and Pittsburgh? Because I think that had playoff implications too.
It did. I mean, if we're gonna do them all, then let's do them all. Fine. Pittsburgh, Cincy, yeah.
This one is simple for me. I thought that Cincinnati was favored by 2. I think based on all this Browning talk in Pittsburgh, in this type of environment, in this type of setting for a playoff spot in Pittsburgh, I thought that was the sucker bet of the year to take Cincinnati. Pittsburgh pretty much came out from the beginning and just smoked them. And I think Browning threw like 2 or 3 interceptions. He never looked comfortable in this game.
300 yards though.
Oh, yeah, but I think he threw a couple. I mean, you compile stats and blowouts. That really doesn't mean much to me. I think when the game was in the balance where he still could have won, he didn't get it done. But that's just a credit to Pittsburgh defense. I mean, they came out motivated, ready to play. Tomlin's a master motivator. He probably told his guys, you guys are underdogs. This guy's only started 3 or 4 games. Show that you're better. And they did. Now, I'm not saying Pittsburgh's a great team or win the division. Like I had them win the division, and they might have still make the playoffs. But I thought this was a game that they would win and win pretty easily, and they did.
Yeah, I just take my hats off to Tomlin. Any of these folks out there, and there's been plenty of people talking about how he should be fired or he shouldn't be the coach. The Pittsburgh tradition has been to find coaches and stick with them for long periods of time. You have an absolutely outstanding coach who makes something out of a whole lot of nothing. And I don't care that George Pickens had a huge receiving game. The problem with George Pickens has never been that he can't catch and run. The problem is that he's a horrible teammate and refuses to block because he doesn't feel like he needs to do that. And that's, but take Tomlin, figured out a way to take that week that they had just recently, motivate them and have a huge game. That's outstanding.
Yeah. I thought any talk of Tomlin was more like on Tomlin's side than because why would the Steelers get rid of him anyway?
No. There's a whole slew of Steeler fans were like, "Oh, it's time to move on."
Yeah.
Well,
I think the same thing. I think it's time to move on from Tomlin. I don't think you're going anywhere with him. He's not running off any 12, 13 win seasons anytime soon. I think it's time
to
quarterback.
And here's the thing. I was going to say that's the team. That's not the coach.
So Andy Reid had a fresh start in Philly. They got rid of him, and I think we both disagreed on that move, but it's worked out well for him. I think it'll work out well for Tomlin as well to have a fresh start somewhere else, but we'll see.
Reid wanted to make that move, and it was because they didn't want to pay him the money he wanted. But, Tomlin is not the one who's angling in all this.
No.
Tomlin wanted to make a move. Of course, every team should want him,
right?
That as is in there. I mean, I still can't get over the fact that we decided to wait one more year and lost that on the opportunity to hire him. Mike Tomlin's a great coach, but if Tomlin wants to do it, I support that completely. Yeah, anyone who thinks getting rid of a great coach like Tomlin is a good idea clearly doesn't understand how important coaching is to NFL games and how good a coach Tomlin is.
But is he a great coach in this time? Because he has no influence on the game.
Yeah, I will say let's come back to that.
But that's some influence.
I like Tomlin too, but he has but we could talk about it later, though. But you
just said you just said that he's the reason why he motivated them to win.
Motivator, yeah.
Still, way too much Steelers talk. All right, so up nil.
Tomlin. There's a playoff picture. They have a better playoff chance than the team I know you're going to speak a whole lot about.
I'm looking at the Showtime. I mean, I'm gonna say my pieces, but we're talking Steelers.
It's all good. Well, we'll go Buffalo
Steelers,
Chargers.
Bengals, right? Who's gonna be at the bottom? The Bills may be, I think, in the playoffs, a scarier team than any of these teams we just talked about. Is why I'm kind of like speeding it along. But Bills, Chargers.
No, that's cool.
You can only talk about the Bills because you can't say anything about the Chargers. Every time you said you'd be quick.
I'll be quick. No, I said I cannot spend extensive time on the Chargers. But here's the thing: we both had the Chargers plus 12. They covered the spread. I don't think we both knew they were going to lose the game. What with Buffalo though? Buffalo had some difficult games. They had Philadelphia, had a bye. They had KC, and they had Dallas. So I expected them to start off a little bit slow in this game and not actually blow out the Chargers because they've had some tough games prior. They got another one next week against New England, and they got another one after that against Miami. So I understand what people are saying. People don't want to play the Bills, but I still don't trust the Bills in the playoffs because they always find a way to lose those important games. But they are a scary team still. They beat the Chargers, did what they had to do, but that's pretty much that's all I have to say about this game.
Yeah, I think Chargers are almost out of it if they're not out.
Oh no, they were out of it weeks ago. But yeah, go ahead.
Nah, there's nothing much to say about the Bills. They're fool's gold. You wouldn't want to play them in the round similar to the Rams because they can get hot in a minute, but they're not a good team. They're not doing anything. They're not even really interesting to watch.
No, they're not.
So, and I mean, they struggled with the Chargers. Chargers are a bad football team.
Chargers, somehow they be close to other teams. I don't know. All right, we're not talking about that.
Go ahead, run down the list. Go ahead.
I mean, all right, Indy, Atlanta, it does have playoff implications.
No, pass.
Not enough.
Right.
Not enough to talk about.
Thank you both. Seattle, Tennessee.
Well, I picked Tennessee to actually win that game. They had a chance, blew in the end. Credit to, I think, Gino, brought them back or whatever. But, pass on that game, too.
B?
Well, I think we need to recognize just how consistently decent, I'm not great or anything else, Gino is. I mean, 227, 2 touchdowns. That's his thing. And that's exactly what Russell Wilson was. I always used to say, Russell Wilson will always get you 250 and 2 touchdowns. Might come with an interception, may not, but he'll get you 250 and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
That's just who he is.
I attribute the Tennessee loss. I didn't know they would have 5 defensive starters off of that game. That's where, because they were leading the entire game. But it was the 5 defensive starters to me. I think if they were playing, they would have won, but it happened.
All right,
but the next game, I have to talk to Brian about, because I wanted Minnesota to shut down.
I was going to jump it.
Detroit.
So, okay, yeah, let's do it.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was playing against Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown in fantasy, so I wanted Minnesota to put a hurting on them. So explain what happened.
The Vikings suck, and then their players got hurt.
Not that bad.
The Vikings suck, man. Watch. The one thing I haven't done is miss a snap of the Vikings games all season long. Anyways, look, Nick Mullins threw for 411 yards in that game. He was throwing the ball.
Damn.
But he is so careless with it. He will put balls all over the place. And he started high-siding folks. He got Jefferson out for a period of that game because he threw him up high and he took a huge hit.
Got him hurt against us.
Ultimately, I don't think this is Mullins' fault, but ultimately he threw a ball that required Hawkinson to turn around, and he got ACL and his MCL torn. He's out.
Oh, yikes!
Yeah, he's out for the season. He's completely done. And then Addison got hurt. They haven't said anything.
What could you possibly do?
But Addison got hurt, so they have a lot of offensive talent, but they just cannot get right on injuries. And then they went away from a strategy that worked last week by actually featuring Ty Chandler and establishing the run game. And then they only gave 11 runs for the game and 8 to Ty Chandler for 17 yards. What do you do with that? What do you do with it? Outside of the first drive, they barely ran the ball. Ty Chandler scored a touchdown in the first drive, and then he was non-existent for the rest of the game. I keep on saying this. Kevin O'Connell tries to outthink everybody else. He doesn't want to win football games. He wants to win football games in a way that people will attribute to him. And so he's got to do something that's different than just go up there and it's like Ty Chandler's is winning at the line of scrimmage. He's making good cuts and he's getting 6-7 yards a carry, which is what he was doing last week. We can't have that. So this week we're going to take a typical third string Nick Mullins, throw for 411 yards. It's not a great strategy. It's not like, at a certain point in time, teams are going to figure it out. And the fact that we had, even a chance of winning that game is okay. But at this point in time, it's time for the Vikings need to shut it down. They have like a 19% chance or something like that of making the playoffs. Let that go. Start Jaron Hall for the next 2 weeks because you got to figure out whether or not he's someone you want on the roster next year or not. You got to figure out who you got. 3 backup quarterbacks right now who are vying for a roster position for next year. You got to figure out what that is. You got to feed Ty Chandler and see if he's the guy instead of Madison. That's it. Try and hopefully keep people from getting real serious injuries. But the whole let's try and find a way to sneak our way into the playoffs and at the end here, let that go. Do not focus on that. And Kevin O'Connell someone needs to pull him aside and say that, winning football games, the way people win football games and have for years and years and years is okay.
Yeah, I know we talked about this in text. We look at the Vikings a little bit differently. I think it was established early in the first quarter that Detroit was not going to allow the run. They wanted Nick Mullins to beat them, and the problem is, I know you blame
How would we
O'Connell.
know?
They ran the ball enough to where he can go anywhere.
4 runs and a touchdown by Ty Chandler in the first quarter. 4 runs. 4. How do we know?
Because they stopped him. That's why.
He didn't stop him. He had a touchdown. 4
A touchdown,
runs,
really?
17 yards and a touchdown.
Wasn't that a 6-yard run? I think that was his longest run of the day, was 6 yards.
That's because he only ran it 8 times. It wasn't
because they were stopping him.
It's that they never ran. If you get stopped, if someone gets stopped, you run 12 times and they get, or 12, 15 times in a quarter and they stuff them. We didn't run. We ran 11 times in the game. They didn't stop them. We didn't run the ball.
Okay. All right. But Detroit was
playing.
playing.
Number has to be, by example, Detroit ran 36 times.
But that's because they can run. And they were running.
Ty Chandler could run last week.
Minnesota couldn't run. But so I understand.
They could. They just didn't.
So I understand having Nick Mullins as quarterback. He throws those Gardner Minshew balls, which are called, ambulance balls, because he's going to get you killed. So what happened doesn't really surprise me. The problem is, as a person who's watched Nick Mullins more than I've wanted to in my career, I don't care who your coach is, it's going to be extremely hard to win with him at quarterback. Yes, he threw for 411 yards, but he threw for 4 interceptions. And from somebody who's watched a bunch of interceptions, it's hard to win games when you throw 4 or 5 interceptions in a game. But I just think with Nick Mullins, you're doing the best you can, but I can't put all this on O'Connell because Nick Mullins is the quarterback. I believe if you had
Kirk made him the quarterback. He got 3 people there.
Who?
Kevin O'Connell's the person who said, I can't win with Joshua. I can't win with
so Dobbs is healthy?
And then went from
he got sapped messing with the Raiders.
Went with 23 rushes with Ty Chandler. They couldn't stop him last week to 8.
Wait,
it's not because
Dobbs is healthy.
Yeah, Dobbs is healthy.
I thought he was injured all this time.
He got set down messing with the Raiders, man. That's why I'm saying the Raiders.
I didn't know that. I thought
he got benched in the Raider game.
Oh, okay. I thought he was hurt. Okay. Well, I guess maybe it is some of his fault.
Only his feelings.
Man.
Okay.
But everything Brian said, I think makes perfect sense, man. You're looking towards next season, figuring out what you're gonna do. Start roster order.
Moving on.
Yeah. Think about it.
Yeah, just throwing the flag. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope Hawkinson comes back. I mean, ACL, MCL tears late in the season. I just hope he's able to come back and be healthy at the beginning of next season.
Yeah, definitely. We skip Washington, New York, or y'all want to?
Yeah, we skip that. Yeah,
my guys. Are we just gonna skip Green Bay, Carolina?
Yeah,
also?
It's Carolina. Can't
Jordan Love, man, leading GP. To
Jordan Love's numbers are significantly better than
he's
Aaron
been good
Rodgers'
for me.
first year.
He's been good for me. I ain't gonna lie, man.
You in the finals with him.
Fantasy finals in Brian's league. I'm saying it on the show, so it is documented.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Me and Matt.
Yeah, we don't either.
Yeah,
man. Hey, GM of the year, bro. My team was terrible for years, and we at the mountaintop. Man,
Cleveland Browns, biggest bet of the week. Cleveland -3 against Houston.
That got me in there too because Amari Cooper decided to go nuts. I'm so glad I put him in the morning, bro. Like right before game time.
Flacco was flinging it
crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's going to matter long term. I don't know if I think are they still in the mix? Oh yeah, definitely. They're 10
they are. They're 10-5.
They're 10-5. Heck yeah.
But I don't know if you watch any Cleveland games though.
This week.
Flacco only throws to 2 people. He throws to Njoku, the tight end, and he throws to Amari Cooper. That's it. That's all.
Both of them on my fantasy team.
Who else on that team would you throw to?
Yeah, he's not throwing to anybody else.
If you can name one of the other receivers, I'll give you $1. Like I don't know.
I can't just because I'm looking at it. Elijah Moore.
Yeah, Elijah Moore. He was supposed to be good, but ain't good. Yeah.
I'm not sending y'all $1 because you was looking at. Not that either of y'all want it anyway. Yo, what is this? What is this? I haven't seen one of these. All right,
underrated Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay though has a chance to win that division, right? And aren't they? I read that
I think they're gonna.
That boy Baker, if they win the division, he got $1 million bonus in there.
Man, it was a bigger bet last week against Green Bay. Tampa Bay did a little bit on them this week against Jacksonville. The only reason I bet this game is because they said Trevor Lawrence was playing. I refuse to believe he's healthy, and Tampa Bay just did their thing. Todd Bowles covered it against them. So. Yep. Easy, good for Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay is going to win this. I mean, they've got the New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers left.
They'll go 1-1 at best.
That's what I think. Yeah,
it's hard to see how they go 1-1. Who they going to lose to, Carolina or the Saints?
This Saints game is big for them. If they want any shot of doing it, they're right there. That's a better play. Like it's not a joke. That's interesting. The $1 million bonus was real interesting because I would be playing my tail off too.
Well, yeah. Well, a lot of guys, NFL got bonuses for tackles and a whole bunch of other different things. So, guys in the NFL still play. They still play.
Heck yeah.
I ain't got nothing to say about Arizona, Chicago.
We're skipping that. I keep hearing they keep saying Jordan Fields because our
Justin Fields.
Justin. Sorry,
that's how bad he is. You don't even know his name.
I don't, bro. I'm nervous about us getting him because I keep hearing the rumors about it because of Champ Kelly, our GM, and I'm just like, man, just let those be rumors. We do not need to bring unless he comes with a bag of chips and like some tokens from Harrah's or something. I do not want that fool over there, man. So skipping that game 100%. Dallas, Miami.
I'm gonna be real quick because I want to hear Brian's take on this game. I was on Dallas in the beginning, and I remember somebody texted me because they said they were going to make a bet. Shout out to Joy. Text me, said, "Who are you going to take in this game?" And I said, "You know what? I'm going to take Miami. I just don't trust Dallas. Every time I want to trust Dallas, you just can't do it. You just can't do it." And I'm like, they will find a way to blow this game. They will lead the entire game and find a way in the fourth quarter to blow it. And so I told her to bet on the Miami Dolphins. I think it was -1 at the time. And they ended up winning up a last second field goal. By 2. But I think I texted you guys. I was like, McDaniel got a little lead and was getting very, very conservative throughout the rest of the game.
That's an old Niner game plan.
Yeah, exactly. One of them Niner game plans, Kyle Shanahan game plans. But he ended up pulling out in the end with a field goal. But that's all I pretty much have to say about this game. I wouldn't pick neither to win the Super Bowl. I still don't trust Miami. I don't trust Dallas. I think they'll, of course, go to the playoffs, but I don't think they'll do any damage. B, did you watch this game?
Yeah, I watched this game. I was mad at myself too because I knew my instincts were immediate and I was all over Miami. And then in talking about it, I talked myself out of it and over to Dallas because Miami didn't have any quality wins against winning teams.
Right.
Because they found ways to play down to the competition.
They almost did.
The 22-20 does not show that they, but they found a way to win the game. And I was rooting for them, even though I picked Dallas. I couldn't help but root for Miami, mainly because I can't root for Dallas. Sure. But this was an interesting game. And, one of the two people that I think should actually be MVP was in this game, and that's Tyreek Hill, who had another pretty outstanding game with, I'll call it 100 yards. It's 99. The only people mad at that is if you get bonuses in the fantasy league at 100. But and then Jalen Waddle had a huge game, one pass and then got hurt. So as that's another fantasy problem for me. But anyways, I agree with you completely, Jason, that Dallas Cowboys and the Miami Dolphins are fool's gold. I'm happy that Miami has finally won a game against a winning team, but I don't have any confidence that they can do it against good winning teams. Yeah. And there's a big difference between a good winning team and Dallas, who has, they're fool's gold in themselves. They play outstanding against bad teams. They look like world beaters. And then, they get into a dogfight and couldn't come up with it. That's not to say that, Dak is bad. I'm not knocking Dak or anything like that. I'm just saying this team as currently constructed isn't good enough to consistently beat great teams. And that's what you need to be in the playoffs. This is what we're talking about now, right? We're not trying to figure out if they can beat, New Orleans and, Atlanta and all those types of things. We're talking about whether they can beat the Bills, they can beat, the Chiefs and so on and so forth. And they're on the other side, if they can beat the 49ers, if they can beat Philly, and they can't.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I agree. Well, we haven't seen it anyway.
Yeah. New England, Denver, I don't have any thoughts on either team.
Big playoff game.
I just laugh at Denver.
Glad to see Denver lose. Yes, sir.
Laughing at Denver.
Yes, sir. Y'all favorite team. Everybody but the Raiders. Everybody but the Raiders. But no, it was good to see them lose. I honestly, my whole thing is one, obviously it's my division, and I text y'all earlier, I can despise every team in our division. It's official. Mm-hmm. No one I dislike more. I dislike all of them greatly. God bless them and their families, all the people involved with the organization, of course, but I hope y'all lose every single game you ever play. Saying that, it's great to see the Broncos lose, and I've been hating on Sean Payton since the beginning. I did the same thing when LeBron went to Miami. I'll be cool next year, but that first year when you're getting all this credit for doing nothing and everyone's saying he talked all that stuff about the previous coach and came out stinking him up, I'm hating. So I'm calling mine out. I can comfortably say I'm a hater here, and that's fine by me. I'm hating. I loved every second of it. Patriots are way down in the standings, so them winning doesn't hurt. We beat them. Broncos can't. Great.
Yeah. I mean, the Sean Payton offense was billed to be a factor, and it has definitely not been. The one thing that he's gotten a little bit better towards the middle and end of the season is trying to run an offense that Wilson could be successful in. But
they're
the
playing much
problem
better.
with doing that
No doubt.
is that he's the only one that this offense is built for, and when he doesn't carry a team, which he's not a guy. I mean, what did he get? 238 and 2 touchdowns. I said 250. He's 12 yards off. The reality of it is that this offense isn't dynamic. It's not a threat. And the only thing that makes it threat is talent, right? You don't have the superstar talent that he had in New Orleans on the outside and in the backfield. And, it's just too difficult for this team to run that offense and win games without talent.
Yeah, you need talent
Definitely.
to win. And
we'll see what
he does. And Russell Wilson just isn't that guy anymore to carry a team even when you need him. So
and Jerry Jeudy and these guys who they thought were going to be studs, they're not.
Yeah. Love it. Keep it right on up. I know they're going to make a move because this is how our division always works. Well, everyone will eventually.
I don't know how many moves they can make. They got a quarterback costing over $60 million on the books next year. So
keep it, please. I hope they stay down a little bit while we can hopefully come up some. Speaking of which, the next game,
Marvin Harrison Jr. That's what they're going to look for.
I hope they do not. I hope they get Marvin Lewis Jr. No diss if he has a son. I'm just saying Marvin Harrison's Heisman candidate.
GB, I got to say something to you, man, about your team's game.
Yeah,
let me tell you something. I was happy that your team got a lead because I have Mahomes as my fantasy quarterback. So I'm like, okay, he's just gonna be chucking. The problem is he couldn't chuck because the defensive line was on him. Look, you can say anything about your linebackers and the secondary. I don't care. It's that defensive line. The most impressive thing about that game is that Mahomes didn't get hurt because it was a million times I thought he was going to get hit and beat down. They were getting Max Crosby was actually getting a few extra shots in on him, but that defensive line, the Raiders.
It's just football.
I'm just like, man, Antonio Pierce said he told them guys in the locker room for the game, you should be tired of losing to this team. We got to make it physical. We got to hurt some people, whatever. It's like you have to have a mind change to actually beat this Kansas City team. You got to do something different. And them boys came out inspired and just I couldn't believe it. I've never seen the Raiders defensive line get on somebody like that ever. Even when they was going to Super Bowls, I never saw his defensive line play that well. They made everybody look good. The secondary looked better. The linebackers look better. Defensive line deserves all the credit. The offense on both teams sucked. The offense sucked both teams, but the defensive line was able to generate turnovers for the defense, and that was the story of the game. So I mean, give props to the Raiders for that, man. Kansas City got do some thinking, and the Raiders should feel good about themselves after that victory.
It's a different type of Raiders football. I'll talk real quick, and then I'll hand it off to you, Glenn. But it was a different type of Raiders football, right? 143 yards from Zamir White, and then grimy on the defense. Yeah. That is not what they used to be. It used to be a track contest where they, the wide receivers would run as deep and fast as, and it was 4 outs, and they would chuck the ball deep. But this was not that, and they played a great game. They found a way to beat a team, and we also learned something about Kansas City. They're not built to come back. Right. So if they're playing right there, they're not built to come back because the wide receivers can't catch and the offensive line can't protect. I think a lot of the playoff teams are going to use this film as a way to figure out how to beat Kansas City going forward, both this season and going beyond. And then the last thing I'll say is Zamir White was impressive. He looked like Ty Chandler last week when he got an opportunity. But seriously, Zamir White looked impressive. Yeah. Josh Jacobs is really, really good. Yeah, you're already saying it. Yep. They're just waiting for the guy. Zamir White looks like somebody who can come in and take over the reins. The only caution I'll give you as a Vikings fan is that's what we thought about Madison last year. It happens all the time. When he had the same finish of the season, we shipped off Cooks. And he's not that guy. Man, save $12 million and keep Zamir White. Save that $12 million, put it elsewhere. 100%. 100%. That's what we did. Don't need to bring Josh Jacobs back. Yeah, but you get them guys kind of like Brian said, right? Like, oh, he looks like he could be it. And it's happened. We've seen it on so many teams done over and over. You get rid of the guy too soon, right? Because of the price tag, the next guy comes in and he's not the man when everybody's keyed in on him.
I think Zamir showed a lot, but I'm definitely more of a fan of the committee running back, expect how it's been done recently. Mix it up. To me, Josh should be doing the same thing. They put in a change of pace back, mix it up a little bit. You can't just run Josh up the middle 100 times a game.
When you have a committee, one of those guys, they making $12, $13 million. You
Right,
make 12,
right.
13, you
No,
can't
100%.
have a committee. That has to be the guy. So
Yeah,
you know who
100%. That's what I'm saying.
Who you guys want though? Who's just going to be super cheap, even though he shouldn't be next year?
Derrick Henry?
Mostert.
Oh, got it.
Mostert.
Oh yeah.
He's going to be dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And he is great in a committee. Zamir White's fast.
Yeah.
Mostert is tough.
I think they keep him though. And it's hard to replicate those again, especially the way that offense is built, especially seeing
the running game.
Not a running game been like that. McCaffrey obviously is
Miami
McCaffrey.
running game.
No, Miami's running game has a sophisticated running game. That's not
they do.
What everybody does. So Glenn, here's a question I want to ask you. I want to save it for this podcast. What I want to ask you is this: Antonio Pierce, big win. Big win. He was emotional after the game. He should be. Big win for him.
He's a coach.
Do you want to keep him or go after a head coach?
I always did. I've never swayed from not wanting Antonio Pierce.
You want to still keep him?
The first game. I've never swayed from not wanting Antonio Pierce. I was sitting next to Brian during the Vikings game, and I said, he's losing this job right now. I don't want him to lose a job, but the way we were playing, it's keeping away because you got to score points. However, that defense playing like it is, like Brian said, top 3 in the league since he took over and playing like it. Guys are swarming to the ball. We're getting turnovers. We scored multiple defensive touchdowns in back-to-back games. That hasn't happened in over 10 years. Never for the Raiders. Had a 63-point outburst. Never for the Raiders. Him being a Raider, wearing all black, screaming Raiders in the locker room after it, guys smoking cigars. Like, this is Raider football to me. It's just edgy enough. You know what I mean? They're just playing hard. It's not dirty. We're one of the least penalized teams in the league.
Yeah, Raiders don't get penalized, right? Yeah.
It's back, right? This is what Vegas has wanted. This is what Al Davis wanted. And I think Mark, and I was telling moms this because we talk football all day, which is crazy. Shout out to Dad for making that even a thing, which is wild. That I think Mark Bisaccia was great because that is him seeing what can happen if you have the guys love him, you let him go for a big name. Now, I'd rather it be Antonio Pierce who gets that shot as a former player, a defensive guy, like his energy in the building. I think he's the coach for this team for sure. The only thing holding us back right now, and I can confidently say this watching the defense last few years, is quarterback play. I'm not saying Aiden is not going to be the guy. I think he can be solid. He has the arm talent. However, you got to get somebody in there who can win this thing now because we actually have a team and a defense. You have offensive pieces. You have everything set except a solid, just QB that's not going to throw it away. He didn't throw it away, but 62 yards is not going to be enough if you're going to make any kind of run anywhere from a quarterback. So I'd get a quarterback.
A free agent.
Up. Honestly, I would probably do it if it's not going to be $10 zillion.
I would too if I were you all.
It's not $10 zillion. I would do it. He's solid vet. Get him in there. Let Aiden learn because I don't think Aiden is bad. He's got the arm. It's just
I don't think he's a starter in the NFL.
I don't think
gun
Aiden's
shy.
a starter.
He's not a starter.
He's just gun shy.
So B,
yeah.
you feel the same way as Brian? You think he should they should keep Pierce? I mean, if you feel the same way as GB, they should keep Pierce and not go after a head coach?
I do. But here's the thing. That's because if you look at the current landscape of options, there is nobody that is definitely better. And so the first name that obviously is going to come up is Harbaugh, right? Yeah. And Harbaugh, did what he did in the 49ers, but he ran from that situation. And now he's up there and he's winning and he's doing well. But there's nothing that tells me that he definitely comes into the Raiders situation as it is right now without the quarterback.
Agreed.
Maybe they go and take his quarterback from Michigan, who's a top 4 guy in the draft. But I don't believe that if you take Harbaugh and plug him into the Raiders, he is 4 games better than Antonio Pierce, who everyone is playing up for and getting up for and all that kind of stuff. Right? That's the same way I feel about Tomlin. There's nobody that you can put in that situation that's, I'm going to use that number again, 4 games better than Mike Tomlin because he motivates average players to play great. And a Raider defense that was very average is playing great. And that is because of Antonio Pierce. And the same thing with, what's his name? Ficaccio.
Ficaccio. Yeah, special teams coach,
Yeah, but he came in and they played for him. Finding a coach that can get a lot out of a team is difficult to do. And so there's some geniuses, but you're not going to get a Sean McVay, right now. You're not going to get, a John Harbaugh people who are tried and true and just can figure out ways to do it. The options that are out there, I don't think that there's anybody who's definitively going to go into the Raiders situation and be 4 games better.
Yeah,
I guess I'm on the other side. If Harbaugh's available, I'm getting him. He's been proven. San Diego, Stanford, 49ers, Michigan. There's nothing that tells me, there's none of his past that tells me he can't turn the Raiders around. I think the Raiders are a big boy job.
But I think they already turned around.
I think the Raiders are a big boy job. I don't think you can deal with these assistants. I know the Bicaccia did well, but you understand no other NFL team interviewed him for a head coach. So
no, and that I'm fine with. I think Antonio.
I'm not saying Pierce is bad.
A different animal, though.
I'm not saying Pierce is bad, and he'll be my fallback option. But as my first option, no, I need a proven head coach because this is the Raiders. This is Vegas. You need somebody that knows how to coach in the NFL and has already done it before and did it at a high level and actually won. I understand the Pierce love, and I get it. I mean, I'm a fan of Pierce myself, but he's never done it before. And so I think the Raiders need somebody that needs to actually that has done it before consistently. He's not doing it now. He's done it 4 games when they're out of contention. That's not. You got to do it when it happens.
They're not out of contention.
We could actually win the division if some fluky stuff happens, but
if you rely on fluke, but that's just my take.
I mean,
I like Pierce, but
it's not too fluky. No. The Raiders have 2 winnable games. The Chiefs aren't playing all that good. They're playing the Bengals in Cincy. Anything can happen. I'm not saying we win the division by any means. I'm just saying I think, like Brian said, he is doing it now. You get him for, you get another brother coach that's in there, right? I think Vegas, you can do enough to make it work. No one's expecting. We'd love to see a Super Bowl, but you got to remember, I'm a Raider fan forever. I ain't seen a Super Bowl since 2000. They could just be solid for a few years and be good. Give them enough time to change. Oh, I'm fine with
talk about no sympathy at all if you all not seen a Super Bowl since 2000. Okay?
Sure, but I'm gonna give you that.
No, but anyways, I just don't think. Look, I think the Raiders could very well win the next 2 games.
Yes,
right. So they could go finish off with 4 wins. They could sneak into the playoffs. It's a little
with a lot of help,
unlikely than
if we win both those games, it's a pretty good chance because the teams we're playing are above us.
But again, if you take the body of work that Antonio Pierce has put 100%. Forward, I don't think that Harbaugh or anybody else is 4 games better than that. And I think that they absolutely give him a chance. He's a Raider guy. He's captured momentum, and the team loves him. I mean, those are things that you lose when you bring in. Let's say you bring in Harbaugh, and the team's smarting. Yeah, this is not a knock on Harbaugh. He's a very, very good coach. Very, very good coach.
We're gonna have Antonio Pierce,
but you're gonna have a fall off in that locker room on the energy side, because there's going to be a lot of guys in there who are going to think that Antonio Pierce got the job and that Harvard took it from him, and it's just not going to be that same energy.
That's why Pierce is going to get it.
Yeah. We could put money on this. We could put money on this. He gets the job, and we're going to be solid.
No, I think Pierce will get the job.
I put money on it.
I'm not against Pierce.
Better,
I'm just saying.
We get a quarterback, we're a problem. I don't think I'm telling you right now. We get a quarterback, we're a problem. I will say this.
If you guys get Harbaugh, I can see you guys taking the quarterback from Michigan, who is a top 4 pick. It's Caleb. May, him, and then Penix.
Got to come in like CJ if you do, because this team can actually win. I'm not saying they can win the Super Bowl. I'm saying they could be. This is a playoff team. I will say this.
If I were you, I'd try and find a veteran like or so whoever it is.
But
O'Connell is not the guy, and I don't think he can be made.
Too early. We're gonna so we'll see what happens there. I will say this, because in this Chiefs team, not impressed. Them boys were not good, bro. We watched every snap. This is not the team we're used to. I was thinking about what Brian said about the $50 million quarterback, and it's kind of seeming true. I mean, you had to get rid of Tyreek. That was a huge part of his success, I see. It's a lot easier to be Magic when you can run around, and Tyreek is guaranteed open if you let him run around the field. Way different with Tony and Scantling and these boys.
Yeah, Tony wasn't hurt. Tony's hurt. But I feel what you're saying.
Scantling, and Mahomes I'm not going to front like Mahomes was looking all that great. Passes were not that good. He was off target. They were dropping passes. They didn't look good. And he's not making people around him better right now. I'm not saying he's trash, trade him or nothing. I'm just saying he's not making anyone around him better right now. That team is in disarray. If I'm in the playoffs, I'm hoping they get one of the top seeds, win the division, so I can play them at the crib.
Yeah, his receivers are inexperienced too, because he threw the ball in spots that they should have been at, and they weren't there.
Kelsey was dropping passes, bro. Yeah. They're not it.
That's the issue.
Wait a minute. Yeah, I was gonna say, this is not it's not on Mahomes to make people able to catch passes that they, that 37 drop passes. They lead the NFL in drop passes. They're 4 more than the second one. There's no other gap between 2 spots that's anywhere close to 4. 37 drop passes. The 49ers, on the other hand, have 7. I mean, it's a huge, huge difference between the top and the bottom there.
I'm going off the game, watching every snap beat. Them passes were not on point.
This has to do with what I always say, which is if you spend all your money on quarterback, there's just not enough.
It's not enough talent around. Yeah,
sure.
Let's see that.
Let's go Rice, and they're not.
Let's go to the next one too. Just because
I can't talk about the Giants. I think we all knew that Philly was going to win. The only thing good about the Giants is they beat the spread. They covered the 13.
And they didn't. They scored so little. Everything we're talking about helped me in fantasy, so it was fantastic. Like each individual part. The Philly didn't score that much. It was great. I mean, enough, right? But it was stuff on the ground. It wasn't to the players I was playing. They beat the Giants, which we knew they would. Did they beat the spread? No, they did not.
No, they didn't.
That's a large spread. And then,
Giants,
B, do you have anything on that one?
Nope.
All right, let's get to Monday.
Yeah. Let's get to why this Christmas wasn't all that great.
If I could refresh you real quick, Niners were going to win by 10 plus.
Yep, I sure did.
This offensive explosion of the Ravens is overrated.
Yep.
There was a couple more things, but go ahead.
And
we all picked the Niners, so I'm just playing a little bit.
Well, so
I picked the Ravens to beat the spread.
You did.
Still picked the Niners.
I would have did the same. Yeah, I should.
If you were betting and you made a bet based on my choice, you would have won the bet.
I wasn't making no bet on this game. Go ahead. But so look, if you didn't see the game or the score, you just looked at the team statistics, you would have thought the 49ers won. They outgained them on the ground, outgained them passing, and outgained them in total yards. But this is why I always say, watch the games. The final score was 33-19. The game was not this close, not close at all. My first thought, so when we first came out, the 49ers first came out, they were throwing the ball like the Rams did, like the Colts did, which was good because they had success. And Rams should have won. The Colts actually beat them. The problem was, in that first drive, he threw that red zone interception. And to me, those are if anybody knows me knows those are the worst interceptions in football. People say worse than a pick six? Like, because a pick six are usually out patterns that are 5 to 10 yards. The DB knows it's coming. He's not scared of a double move, and he breaks on the ball quicker than the receiver.
You get the ball right back, too.
Yeah, and you get the ball right back. And I've seen so many teams in college and NFL come back from a pick six. But these red zone interceptions, you either threw the ball too late, which is what Brock did, or there's just something you don't recognize, you don't understand the coverage that you're seeing, and that's not a good thing. By doing that, you're taking points off the board, and you're giving the other team all of the momentum. And I don't care what it is and what NFL team you play. It could be the Ravens or anybody. You're not beating anybody when you have 5 turnovers and 4 by your starting quarterback. I don't care that 3 of the picks were fluky. One went off of George Kittle's shoulder. One of them, the defensive guy had Brock Purdy's arm, and he's throwing to McCaffrey an interception. I don't care about all that. There were turnovers, and then one got tipped up in the air, and they called it good play by the defensive person.
How many are you going to say?
But it was a lot. But that's not the only reason the 49ers lost. Everybody
not the first one, not the second one. Don't even worry about the third one.
Man.
Like, damn.
Man. It wasn't all interceptions while the 49ers lost the game. Kyle Shanahan got worked by Mac McDonald, the defense, and Steve Wilkes got worked by the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens. It was bad in all facets of the game. What I've noticed in this game, though, I'm still not a fan of the Ravens offense. I don't see them do much to be scared of it, but that defensive line is much, much better than the 49ers offensive line. Offensive line allowed an insane amount of pressures, 22. And the right tackle, which is one of the worst offensive linemen in the NFL, he gave up 9 pressures and 2 sacks. And when Purdy got his arm hit, it was his guy that ran past him to get to Purdy. Also, what I noticed is one reason that Purdy's been so successful is he was throwing outside the numbers. In this game, he was throwing them crossing routes a little bit too much, and the Ravens were kind of sitting on that. But the Ravens deserve credit for winning this game. They pretty much beat down the 49ers. The only thing good I could say about the 49ers is coming out of this game is you don't expect 5 turnovers to happen. So I'm sure if probably played them again, it wouldn't be that bad. But they came out aggressive, which I like. They came out throwing the ball.
Yeah,
it just didn't work out. They only had 6 missed tackles all game. Mixed tackles has been a huge issue for the 49ers. Do I think this was a blueprint to beat the 49ers? No, because you can't count on 5 interceptions and off-schedule plays. There were times, reminiscent of the last time he played Lamar, there were times we had him bottled up, and he finds his way
That's what he
around,
do.
buys some time. I mean, him and Mahomes are probably the best in the NFL at doing that, buying time. What would be a would-be sack, and he made a play. There aren't plays in the playbook for that. That's just the talent of the quarterback that makes those things happen. But I also thought to myself, Christmas Day games are here to stay. 25 million, 27 million people watched
Depends
that
on the
game.
day of the week.
Depends on the day of the week, yeah.
But 27 million people watched. I think they're here to stay. And also, I think if Baltimore does not go to the Super Bowl, I think it has to be considered a failure because that team can pretty much play. I'm not saying they can beat everybody. Well, they can beat everybody.
AFC's open right now.
Right. And that's another thing I thought. I remember Brian was saying there's a big difference with Dallas and Miami playing better teams. It's a big difference between playing AFC defenses and NFC defenses. NFC defenses mostly don't look like that. Don't look like Cleveland's. Don't look like Baltimore's.
Sure.
The 49ers got worked by both of them. So if they play either of those teams, Baltimore, if they have to play them again, they would definitely have to make some changes. And lastly, before I let you guys have at it, 49er fans, please calm down. Montana threw 4 interceptions in the game before, and Steve Young got benched before. Both those years, they won the Super Bowl. I'm not saying 49ers going to win the Super Bowl automatically. I'm just saying both those years, they won the Super Bowl. Bad games happen. Brock Purdy definitely had one. I don't care if they were fluky or not. There's still interceptions that he threw. And, we just have to move on to the next couple of games and try to nail down that number 1 seed. B?
Sure. B?
All right. So first, I'll start with the 49ers. If I looked at the stat line as a Vikings guy who has been watching their games all season, the first thing that I would have looked at is the turnover ratio, the turnover differential. And that's why I would have said there's no way San Francisco was going to win this game because it's just too much to overcome that many. You can overcome 1 or 2, like you said, you can overcome a pick 6. You can overcome a lot of different things, but you cannot overcome 5 picks. And let's just call it 4 for because the other one was just kind of throwing at the end zone to try and do it. So let's just call it 4. You can't overcome 4 picks. I've watched my team all season try to do that. You just can't do it. What I will say is the defense for the Baltimore Ravens just outclassed the 49ers. And they looked great doing it.
Yeah, it was smooth.
The way that they were able to put pressure on Purdy, put him in situations, give him looks that he hadn't seen was dynamic. It wasn't what we were expecting. We were talking about, why Lamar is hard to guard for NFC teams and how he was at the time 19-1, now 20-1 against NFC teams because they haven't seen looks like that. We compare him a little bit to Mike Vick, not the speed, but until you've played a Lamar Jackson, a Mike Vick, or some of these types of guys, you don't understand the different types of things that you need to do to get the angles. You can watch film and you just kind of look at it and you go, well, that guy should have been able to tackle him, or that guy should have been able to tackle him. And then you watch what actually happens in real time, and he shifts and he does something that makes plays. And he did so much of that in this game. Cooking. The number of times where they were 3rd and 20, where they needed to go and got first downs on the 4th down, or 3rd and 17, and were able to get to the sticks, or he made a play, or he came out and threw a crossing pattern against the middle, was very, very impressive from my standpoint. Now, it wasn't super dynamic. Again, there were plenty of times where a very, very good 49ers defense stop them inside the red zone, even inside the 10.
Yeah, started with a safety.
Field goals. Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of those Justin Tucker field goals were less than 25 yards because of how good the 49er defense was. So the scoring on this looks a little bit, different because the 49ers defense is still rock solid and one of the best in the NFL. But this was an impressive game. I do think that this was a Super Bowl preview. I do think that these are the two best teams in their respective conferers. I also think that it's incredibly hard to beat a team twice with the same kind of game plan because, now they've all seen the angles. Now they have film of themselves missing. Now they understand that when he rolls out to their right, that means that his wide receivers are going to naturally cut middle because they did it every single time. And they're going to be able to make some adjustments. It's really hard to beat a team twice. And so this was actually, if 49er fans want to take something away from it, it's that this was the first time that they were going to have to deal with that, as opposed to it being in the playoffs and Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I think that they've now taken that lump. They can learn from it.
Yeah.
I do think Baltimore has proven that they are a best in AFC type team.
Oh, yeah.
Whether they are the absolute best,
Yeah.
I
They're a real
think they're
threat.
the best, but
They're a real threat.
but they're certainly amongst that conversation. And they have 2 really hard games to finish off their season. They've got Miami next week, which is going to be super tough for them because Miami's going to be hungry coming off of a big win.
So
they
on and so
both
forth. Need to
and
win.
then they've got a Pittsburgh Steelers team which has no real playoff chances at that point in time, but is hungry and will play hard.
They always play tough. Yeah.
Yep.
They beat them earlier this year.
It's almost certain that they're going to be probably playing for a 1 seed in those 2 games. So, Baltimore is going to have to go out there and do their thing, and they're going to have to play tough football games and probably play all of them. And so when they go into the playoffs, I just hope that for the first time in a long time, Lamar Jackson stays healthy and we can actually see how that all transpires. But there was a lot to be taken in from a game that looked and felt lopsided. So you just had to throw away the Brock Purdy play and his MVP chances. Throw those away.
I'm happy.
And then focus on other things, like how the defense was able to stop Baltimore in the red zone, how Lamar Jackson was able to turn 3rd and long into first downs, how the defense was able to, the Baltimore defense was able to make things awkward for the San Francisco 49ers. And then how the 49ers reacted when things went south. They said, give McCaffrey the ball. The touchdown drive, the one real touchdown drive that they had, that whole drive was after Brock Purdy threw another pick, and they did not let him touch the ball other than to hand it to McCaffrey or throw a screen pass to him behind the line. There was not one single pass that went more than 5 yards on that drive. So that the most important person on that team is McCaffrey.
By far.
Yeah, I'm happy that Brock Purdy's chances are gone, so everybody can stop talking about it. He can get back to business. He can stop asking questions. Yeah, it really was. Stop asking questions about him and everything. That's all done. He doesn't have to answer those no more. But another thing, though, this was a learning lesson for Kyle Shanahan. He got rocked by Cleveland's defense. He got rocked by Baltimore's defense. He's going to have to make an adjustment. He cannot come with these same game plans he does with these NFC teams. Now, throwing the ball, I still agree with, because the Ravens can be thrown on, but you're going to have better protection with the offensive line. You just cannot block those guys one-on-one. The defensive line of the Baltimore Ravens is just better man for man than the 49ers, except Trent Williams. Sure. And then also for Steve Wilkes, another learning lesson for him. He tried running zone. Those guys, especially Zay Flowers, a guy we could not cover, got into all those open spaces, and Lamar just kept delivering the ball to him while he was open. And that's going to have to change as well, too, if we play the Baltimore Ravens again. You cannot come with that same game plan. They were out-coached. We were outplayed, and they got interceptions, fluky or not, and they deserve to win that game. But that score was not. But the score, 14 points. No, that it was much worse than that. Much worse than the score.
I will say one thing I noticed that was cool. Lamar Jackson is 6-0 when playing top 5 defenses on the road.
Oh, I didn't know that
in his career.
I didn't know that.
Lamar Jackson plays the top 5 defense in the league.
PFF stats right there.
I didn't know that.
Seen it on the game Monday night. He wins those games against those top defenses on the road, which is dope. I do think, Brian, you made good points about beating the team twice. It's difficult. You have the angles, you have the footage. That's a great thing for the Niners, and it's a great time to get a loss against a big team with 2 games left and a chance to really ball out and get hot.
So they don't get full of themselves. Because then now they can always go back to this, like, we can't be getting high-headed because we had Baltimore and Cleveland. We thought we was good, went to Cleveland, got rocked, thought we was good, got rocked by Baltimore.
You're going to face one of them top defenses. So good point.
Right.
You guys, we're probably right about at time, our usual show. Do you guys want to do the bowl games real quick?
Yeah, let's do it. It's going to be quick. It's going to be quick, GB.
Well, wait, before we do that, we want to very quickly go through a couple of this week's games because there are some pretty important ones for playoffs this week.
Yeah, I guess we have to, I mean, it's
there's the ones that have both teams have playoff implications. Lions, Cowboys.
Who you got?
Dallas -6. I'll take the Lions.
I'm taking the Cowboys. I think that's going to be an easy one for the Cowboys.
Go with the Lions. Oh, they're in Dallas though.
They're in Dallas. Detroit done won a division, first time since slavery. I mean, I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. I'm going with the Lions.
If you guys watch the whole Atlanta-Chicago game, I'll buy you lunch when I see you.
Oh boy, you ain't buying me lunch because it ain't happening.
Watch all of it.
Another one, New Orleans, Tampa Bay. That's a big one.
That's a division. That could be your division winner.
That could be a division winner. Who you got?
I got Tampa. I got Tampa Bay at home. Go ahead.
Who you got? Who you got, B?
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I got Tampa Bay as well. They got momentum.
Tampa Bay -3 is. I don't. You'll have to tell me because you bet a little bit more than me, but that just seems like a very light spread for a home team that I think is probably going to beat the Saints by a touchdown, at least a touchdown.
I'm with you on that. Miami, Baltimore. You alluded to it earlier. It's Baltimore -4 at home. Who you got coming off the big victory against San Francisco?
Ooh. I got it at 3.5, but I'll take the Ravens.
Yep.
I'm going to take.
I think they're the best team right now.
They're not going to lose this game.
I don't think Baltimore's going to lose this game too. I think they're a momentum team. If this game was like a bye and then they played the following week, I'll probably take Miami, but it's right after San Francisco. They're still rocking and rolling. I'm taking Baltimore in this one.
And Dolphins still haven't beat a good team. They beat a team with a winning record, but they haven't beat a good team.
That's a very big game for them, though.
I don't trust Miami. Yeah, I don't trust the Dolphins on the road. I just can't. Can't. I'll take Baltimore on this one. Another one would be
Steelers-Seahawks.
Steelers-Seattle. You know what? I'm still not a buyer on Seattle. I'm taking Pittsburgh. That's just me. I'm just not.
So I don't know what you have them at, but I have Seattle -4.
-3.5.
So I will take the Steelers because of that 3.5 or 4. Because I think this is going to be a field goal game.
Okay. Yeah, I'm taking the Steelers.
Yeah, the Bears could win 7 games. That's crazy. I wouldn't have expected that.
Well, actually, Cincinnati, Kansas City is a playoff atmosphere. Playoff kind of a game too. Who you like?
Oh, it's in KC. I thought it was in Cincy. Yeah, KC will win. Dang, I wanted it to be in Cincy so bad because I want the Chiefs to lose again.
What about you?
KC's going to win this game. You know that Mahomes is going to bounce back, and Browning and that team is just too banged up. They're just not ready.
Yeah. After watching the KC game, how frustrated those players are. Same thing for 49ers. They couldn't put together one good quarter. They were frustrated as hell too. I expect both teams to bounce back and win. I expect KC to cover the 7 and win the game.
Dang, everybody's so close in the AFC. It's crazy. Go ahead. Go.
And then lastly, we got Green Bay. And this is a huge game. Green Bay, Minnesota. Huge.
This is no longer a big game, but it just isn't. I will pick the Vikings and take them, give up the 2, but nobody touched this game because this is going to be ugly at its finest.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet this game, and I wouldn't be surprised who won this game, but I'm taking Minnesota to win by 1. Minnesota wins by 1.
So Green Bay on the spread and Minnesota on the
I don't have a dog in this fight, but if I had to pick just a winner, I'm taking Minnesota to win this game. Yeah,
our game's important too. Raiders Colts. I gotta go with my team. We need that win. I want Pierce to keep the job and see what happens.
It's in Indianapolis, so you got a road game going to KC, back
Raiders.
home, going to Indianapolis. Yeah, you know what?
Defense, and then inside is going to be better for
Gardner Minshew doesn't have a clue. Gardner Minshew can be rattled very, very easily. He starts throwing picks. Yeah. And that Raider defense is going to really, really make him frustrated.
I hope so. You guys never pick the Raiders, so maybe I should shut my mouth.
What? I want to pick the Raiders +3. I think I will take the Raiders
+3.
No,
don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, Raiders +3. All of us.
I'm taking the Raiders +3, but it's just like, damn, you don't want the Raiders. I wouldn't bet this game because you don't want the Raiders to be high off that KC win and come out, not as focused to beat the Colts. You know what I mean? So
I think they're hungry right now.
Yeah, but we just need the offense. If the offense moves the ball at all, we win. I think we win.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Vegas
Gardner
+3.
You can't take that defensive one.
Yeah, I got Raiders +3.
I hope they roll. Give me run me through the bowl games, and then we'll get our last few and get.
Yeah, let's move on.
Go. I'll get them.
Yeah. All right. So we'll start with we'll do them in a day order. So you have the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, Missouri, the number 9 Missouri team versus the number 7 Ohio State team.
Yeah, this is easy. I'm taking Missouri. Easy. Ohio State got players not playing this game. Missouri is definitely the right side of this game. I'm not sure why Ohio State's still favored.
It's always so difficult to pick these games when the players aren't necessarily playing in them. I'm going to take Ohio State, though.
Yeah, for those of you who have been on Peerless One Sports, we're 3-0 on our bowl games this year, just to let you know, including today's First Responders Bowl game. Just saying one that we do.
I definitely watching. I watched that
Texas
over the Cotton
State
Bowl,
-3.
I watching nothing Cotton Based.
Texas State just won. What's the next one?
All right, so I got Ohio State. Okay, the Peach Bowl. It's number 11 Ole Miss versus number 10 Penn State. The spread is Penn State -3.5.
Yeah, I'll take Mississippi. Penn State has the better defense, but I'm going with offense this time of year, which is why I took Texas State earlier today. I'm taking Mississippi.
All right, I'm gonna take Penn State too. I think they have enough depth that it doesn't matter who's playing on that team. They're just going to be able to outclass an Ole Miss.
I mean, you got to take that, go to Alamo Bowl. You got Arizona, which is 9-3. They have NFL wide receivers on that team going against Oklahoma.
Alamo
Big 12.
Bowl. They in one of the big bowl games, man.
Yeah, but Arizona and Oklahoma. I mean, Arizona got some players on that team. I bet on them a couple times this year. They got some NFL receivers.
Who do you got?
Arizona. I'm taking Arizona -3. I'm taking Arizona. Oh, they're going to score at least 35 points against Oklahoma's defense. I think people should watch that game.
I'm with you on that, and I actually probably will watch the game, but I'm with you on Arizona.
Okay.
All right, Orange Bowl. This is actually a pretty big, important game. I don't know who's playing and who's not playing, but number 6 Georgia versus number 5 Florida State Bowl. They might as well call it the Boo-Hoo Bowl, right? Both these teams thought that they should be making the playoffs, and neither of them did.
So historically, the team that has lost the SEC championship didn't play as well in the bowl game because, of course, they don't want to be there. They used to be in the Final Four. So I would take Georgia to win, but I'll take Florida State to cover the spread.
Yeah, the spread is stupid. It's 17.
It's 17.
So I will agree with you on that. That Florida State. Georgia's going to win this game. They're going to win it probably by 14 points, but I just don't know if they get to 17.5.
Yeah.
That's too many points for me to give up. I'll take Florida State.
Yeah, Georgia can win based on talent. Florida State just wants to prove they should have been in the playoffs. That's all.
That's pretty much it. And then the Fiesta Bowl, another Boo-Hoo Bowl for Oregon. Number 23 Liberty versus number 8 Oregon.
17-point spread.
17-point spread.
Liberty's undefeated.
I'll go first on this one.
Oh, go ahead.
I will give up the 17-point spread and take Oregon. I don't think this is even remotely close.
Okay. It's all about motivation. I don't believe
Nix is going to play, but maybe.
This is all about motivation. I'm not sure if Oregon's going to be that motivated. I know Liberty will because they're undefeated. They want to keep their undefeated season alive. So I'm going to take Liberty plus a 17, but Oregon to win based on talent. Oregon's talent is too much. And if they actually want to win this game, they can win by 35. I'm with you on that, Brian. Easily, if they wanted to. Yep.
Here we go. All right. So now here's the big games.
Yep.
Everyone's playing and everyone's motivated.
Yes.
So January 1st, you got the first game. You got the Rose Bowl, which is number 4 Alabama versus number 1 Michigan. Who do you got?
Oh, that's fun.
I got Alabama to win outright. I don't want the 1.5. Michigan runs. I don't believe in their quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. I just think the quarterback from Alabama is a little bit more talented running the ball. I think he's going to be a problem. I got Alabama and Nick Saban to beat Jim Harbaugh in this one. What about you?
Going Michigan.
Okay.
And, I agree with everything that you said, but I just don't think Alabama is as good as they have been in previous years.
You're right.
And I think Michigan, who has been able to win games without their coach, without key players, is just kind of in a slot right now. Yep. And I just think they'll find a way to win. Yeah,
Michigan, I wanted Michigan to win, but if I had to bet money, which I'm not, I would take Alabama because it seems like every time the SEC teams play the Big Ten teams, SEC seems to come out on top. But
Agreed.
Now this is your call on this one. This is going to be a good game. Texas.
Okay, this is going to be a really good game.
Yes.
So it's the Huskies, Washington versus Texas Longhorns.
Give us a spread.
Texas. Oh, well, yeah. I was going to say Texas, the number 3 team in this situation, is favored by 4.5 points.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go first.
Yes.
I'm taking Washington. I think that this spread is Pac-12 disrespect all over. I think Washington is a very good team. There's a reason why they haven't lost, and they had a very strong schedule, unlike a lot of these SEC teams and Big 12 and Big 10 teams.
Mm-hmm.
They've had a very hard schedule. They've proven it. I'm going to go with Washington. So Washington versus Michigan in the finals, which we'll talk about next week.
Okay, so Brian, I'm taking Washington outright to win this game. Texas is the more talented team, man for man, but Washington has the better coach. I think Washington has the better quarterback. They have NFL receivers on their team, and I think Washington finds a way to get it done. I agree. This is Pac-12 disrespect. This should be maybe a 1.5 point spread. It's up to 4.5 from 4. I'm definitely taking Washington on this game. I am betting this game. So anybody wants to know, I am betting this game. I'm taking the 4.5, and I'm waiting because I might get 5 or 5.5. So I'm waiting a little bit longer. until people catch up to see how good Washington is. But I'm taking Washington to win this game, and I think it's going to be a Washington-Alabama final. And I would love to see a Pac-12 team take down Nick Saban. I would love to see that.
That'd be crazy.
In the last year, yes, I would love to see that
before the ACC.
Right.
Oh goodness.
Yep.
Yeah, I would love Washington to have that momentum too going to the Big 12 and Big 10 next year as well. But yeah, so we'll see. I got Washington.
I thought Washington's not going to the ACC. They're
no, they're going to the Big 10.
Okay, Big 10. Okay.
Yeah, Big 10. Yep.
Got you. Word. Is that it, or is there more?
That's
more
it.
That's it.
Cool, man. Let's wrap it. I know we're a little bit over what we usually do. Try and keep to an hour. Last two segments. Hella hogwash, man. What y'all see from this last week that to give honor to Brian's segment he made up? What's a bunch of hogwash?
I'll tell you what's a bunch of hogwash.
I'll go first.
No,
I
go
don't
ahead,
got much to say on this one. I am really Kevin O'Connell's whole approach to coaching is hogwash, man. I'm so sick and tired of him thinking he's smarter than everyone else and trying to find ways to win that nobody else has found before in the infinite time of that is football. It is frustrating to watch. I want to stick by him because I think that he's a talented dude, but this is a bit much. He is hogwash.
Yeah. Poop.
What's hogwash is that Bill Belichick ain't been fired yet. Okay, I don't care that he just beat. I don't care that he just beat Denver. They should be thinking of an exit strategy right now. Bill Belichick should not be the coach of this team. It's not getting any better. It's just getting worse year by year, and he does not have the ability to find a quarterback or good offensive players. He proved that when Tom Brady was there. Tom Brady is gone. It's just time to pull the plug. Let Bill Belichick go. You should be thinking of an exit strategy right now. It should be a farewell tour.
He can retire.
Last couple games.
Retire into the year and then come back a year later if he decides to, but who knows?
Yeah.
I don't have one beyond the Kansas City Chiefs offense. Minute to win it, man. Just shout out to anybody who makes it this far in the show. We appreciate you all.
Yeah, in the interest of time, just thank you all for watching, and hope you continue to watch.
Appreciate you. B?
You know what? I'm not going to say much. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Merry Christmas. I hope everyone had a good holiday season.
Yep. Happy New Year. Yep. And we'll catch y'all next time. It's December 26th, 2023. Peace.